It's We Told You So, episode 100! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, through our hard work, it is time to celebrate this monumental occasion and... Well, here we are. I think I'm going to use this 100th episode to focus mainly on what is actually happening. I mean, of course, I'm going to talk about all of the ridiculous things that are happening, but I'm going to specifically remind people who's actually in charge. But first, let's talk about how the hostage release date was pushed back by Hamas. They're claiming that Netanyahu's country violated the ceasefire. They're claiming that he delayed the return of people to Gaza as well as conducting airstrikes. And while you will never ever find me defending anything Hamas has ever done or said, but also the plain reason why they put a hold on this indefinitely is because they were not given the things for humanitarian aid that they were promised. They were promised thousands of aid trucks, fuel trucks, mobile housing units, and tents. What was actually delivered had thousands of shortfalls. They were not given what they were promised for the Palestinian people. So Biden successfully arranges a ceasefire before he leaves office, and then Shitbird comes in there and just lets it all fall apart, which is exactly what he admitted was going to happen. As I stated in a previous video, CBS News has reported that Trump's approval rating is above 50%, at like 53%, which is total horseshit. Because every single media outlet is terrified of him. Yet if you look at more reputable places like Pew Research polls that were done recently, his approval rating is closer to 47%, and only 37% of that are people who strongly approve. Just like his entire first term, he hasn't broken above 50%. And only 9% of people say they strongly approve of everything he's doing. That's even amongst hardcore MAGA people. As usual, the media is going to continue to try sugarcoating the orange turd. Meanwhile, it's truly amazing how many Republicans in Congress keep forgetting how the government works. Dumpy Pants is issuing a whole slew of executive orders that are blatantly unconstitutional or flat out illegal, and Republicans are taking to Twitter to be like, "Why are the courts coming after him?" It's called checks and balances, dumbass. So now, of course, since they're the party of law and order, these Republicans just now want to impeach and remove all of these judges because they disagree with Dumpy Pants. I especially love the irony that he's retweeting this in a post about, "This is what we did in El Salvador, we just impeached all the judges." He thinks El Salvador is a good model for us. The same country that has a notoriously hellscape prison that the current administration wants to send people they don't like to in order to make them disappear. And don't worry. The actual president is aware of this. Because let's call things what they are. Because this billionaire who has many conflicts of interest, is not an elected official, and is currently performing a hostile takeover of every single department in the government, he has a lower approval rating than Vagina Neck. And while he and his small group of young hackers are sitting here going into departments of education and treasury and systematically deleting grants and contracts, which is illegal, he's sitting here saying that they're doing away with wasteful government spending, which is what the Republicans always say when they want to get rid of benefits and social programs, which are a drop in the bucket because they don't want to tax the rich. We don't have a spending problem. We have a revenue problem. If you cut spending across the government from all these social programs, benefits, healthcare, all these things they're trying to take away, they don't do a damn difference at all in the deficit. However, strangely, whenever you raise the taxes on the rich people by even a few percentage points, you make up millions of dollars. And since all these people want to do is create another French Revolution and make the rich richer and the poor poorer, they're going to try taking away everything they can in the process that's going to make it look like wasteful spending while just completely enriching themselves. Case in point, why in the world would you say you're trying to root out wasteful government spending and then have the U.S. Department of State spend $400 million on your own company's vehicles? I'm not even in the government, guys, and I can tell this is a huge red flag and a conflict of interest. Everybody should be able to see that. You're going to sit here taking away people's health care and taking away people's medicine and scrounging for pennies under the couch while you spend $500 million on this guy's own company. Like I said, all this is going to do is make the French Revolution have a sequel. And if you needed any more examples of this, you can just take that meeting in the Oval Office from a little while ago, where Elonia Muskrat brought his kid. I actually love the way Tizzy put it in his video where he said that the real president was actually talking to the press while Dumpy just sat there in his cuck chair. Because that's just a perfect description. Because if you'll remember, if you saw that, there were two hot mic moments that are very telling. It's not edited, People saw it in real time. There were 2 separate times when Elonia was talking where this kid wandered over to Dumpy, and one of the times he said, "You're not the president, you need to leave." And the second time he literally said, "I want you to shut your fucking mouth." Let me tell you something about 4-year-olds. They don't say stuff like that just off the top of their head. They say things that they have heard from other people. Which means that this kid has heard somebody, I wonder who, telling him to shut his fucking mouth and that he's not the real president. Just let that sink in for a minute. Again, cuck chair. Perfect description. So in this 100th episode, what have we learned? We're learning that the people on the far left who refused to partake at all on November 5th and handed the country over to an authoritarian are now doubling down and pretending they had nothing to do with it and they don't have blood on their hands. We have a billionaire who is not an elected official, who is actually an immigrant, completely dismantling our government. We have a childlike, narcissistic con man who's a fan of Schindler as our figurehead. And while everybody continues to lose money, prices continue to go up, our country continues to deport thousands of innocent civilians to Guantanamo Bay, and we just get to sit back and watch everything burn. Too many people were apathetic, were not paying attention, or just thought that it was all a joke or that we were fear-mongering and it wouldn't actually happen. And now we're actually being run by a billionaire who wants all the money for himself and just wants the rest of us to be poor. And absolutely nobody is doing anything to stop him.
We're in the middle of a hostile government takeover. I wanna talk about it, but I'll be late for work. And if you're saying, wait a minute, who we have to stop this? We had one, but you didn't want the lady in office. Now that we're a part of a Nigerian prince scam, surprise, surprise, it ended up being a white man. Oh, I just wanna know, what the hell do I do? Probably drink.
This has been We Told You So. We should have learned our lesson long before we got to this fucking point.